Welcome to the Roy Cheetah Project. It's Roy Cheetah Boy. If you're back in an episode, not just any episode, but another pop-up comic review for you. Again, we're not going to spend too much time. Just going to go over the intangibles, tangibles about this book, this particular polarizing book. Heard a lot. We're going to get right into it. Welcome. We are going to get into Mr. Miracle, the Source of Freedom. All of it's very, very intriguing, very interesting, and we're going to dig right into it. Now let's talk about what I liked. I liked the art. For the most part, that is a big feather in this book's cap, is the detail in the colors in the art. Even though the art at some point gets a little inconsistent, and we'll talk about that, might as well go ahead and unpack that now, around anybody outside of costume. Anybody outside of costume, outside of action, things get weird with the art. And I think that's where this book stumbles quite a bit. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to tear this book apart. I'm not going to trash this book. I'm not going to drag this book. You really have to think about who's delivering the information to you, or who's delivering their opinions to you, and what their background is when it comes to stuff like this. We talked about the characters being out of costume and things getting weird. When the characters are out of costume, this is almost like two different comic books. When you have Mr. Miracle doing this thing in costume, everything pops. The colors are there, the action's there, the art is there. It's running. And then when you get to actual dialogue between civilians, so to speak, this is where things get a little twisted. And I think that's where people get hung up on this particular book. Now, I haven't heard anything outrageous or egregious about this book, but again, from the people I've been hearing it from, it's interesting their perspective, given who they are. I am a black male, was born a black male, lives as a black male, will die as a black male. So as that, I can understand at a very basic level where this book is coming from. Not being able to expose yourself, not being able to move without any criticism or any threats or judgment. That makes a lot of sense to me. And this particular person having the abilities that he does, and then also being able to wear a mask and kind of let those abilities move freely, that makes a lot of sense to me, given the scope of where we're at. But that being the case, this story does feel a little forced to me, and a little opportunistic, and a little rush, especially when it comes to the characterization in the characters outside of costume. And again, I think that's where we get hung up, is the characterization of the main character is a big flaw in this book. The theory's there, the application is all wrong. It's all off. Again, it feels forced, it feels a little grabby, it feels a little clickbaity. But we already spoke about this. I can understand at a very basic level what this book is trying to do, and I'm willing to give this book a second chance on number 2 and see where it goes. And I'm willing to do that because the art, to me, is the kind of art I like, and it's really good. I have to remember we'll talk about who the artist was, get his name, and credit him for the work, because this is the only saving quality of this book is the art. The writing's a little off, and the characterization is completely off. And we'll talk about Mech Cadet U in the closeout episode this week. But I just got done reading Mech Cadet U, and they kind of do the same thing in their book, but it comes off a lot more different. So, but the art, especially these two panels, I always like to pick out a couple panels for you guys. These two panels are really showing somebody who's struggling with the superhero identity and his civilian identity in a different way than a lot of other superheroes are struggling with with the juxtaposition. And the art really shows somebody who is kind of boxed in or locked in or in a bad way. It really brings that out. So I really appreciate the art in that sense. But again, what I don't appreciate is the characterization and the big grab at the race card. Now, I understand. I get it. But I think this was a big swing in and then again, everything outside of costume, everything outside of superhero action just seems a little grounded to me in a negative kind of way. Nothing's really sticking to the wall here. So I'm not exactly sure what went wrong, but I do appreciate the effort. And if this is a start for us, this is what we get. I mean, we're still waiting on a Blade comic book. I don't know where there is. In Miles Morales, I'm sure the reception from Miles Morales wasn't all that great either to begin with. So, this is just where we're at. And for people to come out and say certain things about this book, kind of kind of is proving the point a little bit. And it sucks that we have to still talk about these kind of things. But and if it upsets somebody in a comic book, then I guess we're still not that far along. So I for all that, and if it starts a discussion, I think the book is bringing some sort of value. And so that's Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom. Again, a very polarizing book, a book that I can give a rating to, and a book that I'm not going to just tear to shreds. Because let's keep it 100. Let's not act like the subjects, whether it's a clickbait or a big grab at what's going on, or a unsincere spin to push books, what have you. But even if that's the case, let's not act like the concepts touched in this book, if aggressively or not effectively, whatever you want to call it, the concepts touched in this book, and however they were touched, let's not act like they were alien. Let's not act like this is foreign. Let's not act like this book is making up some stuff. You know, this is stuff that is in the history of this country, is in the history of humanity, and it's stuff that we have yet to deal with. And and if it makes its way in this comic book and it makes some people feel comfortable, then hey, again, it made its impact. So again, this book might have been a little misplaced in its application, but the theory was there. So there you have it. World Cheetah Boy. We'll see you next time. Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom. This is the only review this week. Check for more for us in the next coming episode for the closeout of this week. And we'll see you next time. Remember the rules. You can't buy everything. You can't read everything. Be nice at the LCS. Be kind outside the LCS. And keep it 100. And if this book wasn't for you, it wasn't for you. And if it was, it was. And if it's just it's just eh. There'll be other plays and there's other books. We'll have more stuff to yell at each other about than a comic book. Trust me. So it's Real Cheetah Boy. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. We only one comic book away, y'all. 100.